All right. Fabulous.
Okay.
Hello, people. I'm told that people can see us. Maybe not yet. We can talk amongst ourselves.
The anticipation is.
I know. I wish there was some low volume.
What's that line from The Importance of?
Oh, wait a second. Here's somebody. Oh. Hey, John and Bonnie.
Hey. Can they hear us, or we just?
Yeah, they can hear you. You can't hear them.
Oh, okay. Are we just supposed to blab, or is somebody going to ask us questions, or what?
I like that I can say, "Can you hear us?" And yes. Loudly. I can hear you loudly, Bonnie.
Misty, Ariel, Neil.
Hi.
It's like Romper Room. Remember
Etc. Who's etc.?
I see Don and Ariel and Neil and Chris.
It might be Ariel.
It might be Ariel. That isn't how Romper Room worked. I see Ariel. It might be Ariel.
What is Romper Room? You're not that much older than me.
I'm 1 year older than you. Romper Room was that woman who said at the very end of it with all the little kids, I see so and so and so and so and so and so.
I watched Hobo Kelly. I didn't watch Romper Room.
Yeah, I lived on the East Coast. You lived on the West Coast.
Oh, that might have been. Did everyone watch?
We watched
Captain Kangaroo.
Kangaroo, Romper Room, Wonderama. Did you get that?
I wasn't allowed to watch
she wasn't. My wife wasn't allowed to watch Wonderama because she was allowed to watch war movies.
I was not allowed to watch Lassie because apparently I was too sensitive to animals in danger. Actually, I think my mom probably has a point. And actually, do you remember?
Oh, look, people are responding to us.
Oh, are you?
Captain Kangaroo was the man. I think Mr. Green Jeans was the man.
Well,
or Bunny Rabbit was also the man.
Bunny Rabbit?
Remember Bunny Rabbit?
No.
That was one of the...
you watched Hobo Kelly. I loved Hobo Kelly.
What's your favorite book from the shelves behind you? Oh, they're all my children, darling. I can't choose between them. It's like the desert island test.
You know, they're actually about 5,000 more behind the ones that you're seing. They're books behind the books behind the books.
And then there are rooms behind the rooms behind the rooms.
You keep telling me what to say. I would drag out their carts over here too. There are 4 carts that I bought my husband so that he could put books on the carts so that he could roll them away so he could look at the ones that he feels are dead orphans. Well, not dead orphans, but kind of orphans.
No, unfortunately, the carts are so complicated that instead of just going behind the carts, if I think one of the books that I want to read is behind the carts, I just go and buy
look
the
at
book
what
again.
Rebecca said.
What did Rebecca say?
I don't know what it is like to have books. I'm such an actress. Behind books. Looks around innocently.
Oh, she does have books behind books behind books.
I love it.
I wanted to be a librarian when I was growing up until I realized that it was library science for a reason. The science kind of pushed me.
We're just nattering and people are writing really funny things.
I'm assuming that that's what we're supposed to do. We're just supposed to natter. This is perfect for us.
This really is perfect.
I know. This is a perfect format for us.
I don't want to interrupt your funny comments, though.
That's kind of how Zoom works. I don't know if anybody's supposed to ask a question and we're supposed to answer it, or we're just supposed to natter away, but natter away. Natter away.
Okay.
Excellent. It's just like we're on a date, honey, except with 50 people watching.
Close.
I hope they're picking up the check.
Yeah, Betsy Childs. Hi, Betsy. Thank you for letting us natter away. That's kind of how Zoom works. I wanted to.
The salary was awful. Yes. I wanted to be a librarian in the sense that I liked the idea that you sat behind a desk, you read books, and occasionally you stamped things.
I don't know I didn't have any idea what it's like to look around books behind books, innocent whistle.
Oh, innocent whistle. We're watching the episode where you nearly became a Borg. Yes. David Livingston,
the director
of that episode, when they put me through the radiation chamber at the end of it, and I'm supposed to be able to radiate the Borg out of me. He said, now keep your eyes open. It looks cooler that way. It's like, but I'm being bombarded by like a jillion like oozle doodles of cosmic rays.
I was in that episode too. Oh, that was supposed to be funny. I didn't let him end his joke. Cosmic rays. I was in that episode too. Okay, someone asked me something.
Bonnie was turned into a Borg and then she was killed. And I showed up on the set that day to watch her get killed, because how many times does the husband get to do that?
I could hear him chuckling away behind, guffawing by the monitor, because Scott Bakula shot me and I had to go flying back and land on a big pad several times.
I said, I think we need to do that again.
Someone asked me what it was like working with Stan Lee. It was really sweet. He was really, really, really sweet. I was really like kind of honored, and I was kind of nervous with him, and I loved it that he had a little crush on Diane, and Zach was geeking out, super geeking out.
Extremely uncomplimentary biography of Stan Lee was just published, not to be Debbie Downer, but
Debbie
Nonetheless.
Downer.
No, nonetheless.
Oh, fine.
I like Howdy Doody. Oh, Howdy Doody. Date yourself, Barbara. Date yourself.
But that's Howdy Dowdy.
Howdy Dowdy. That's a whole different character. I don't know. Howdy Dowdy.
I like Howdy Dowdy better than Howdy Doody. Howdy Doody is a little.
I have piles and piles of books, and they are very cluttered. Yes, I know. I've heard of such things, but I know what is in every pile.
Oh.
And if a pile has been moved.
Okay, so my husband has this system of choosing his next book, which I'm sure all of you will now leap on and tell us how you choose your next book. But he has five piles of 10 books each. That cascade, it's a cascading thing. So he picks his next book from this pile, and then he picks, I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, it's hard to explain.
But the thing is I
have 6 piles. There's a pile of 10.
Well,
I pick a book from that pile, and then I replace that book with a book from the next pile, and then it cascades down. And that way, the last pile, the 6th pile, I get to wander around the house and find a new book to put on that pile. That way, I always get to look for books in the library, but I'm committing to reading eventually books that I otherwise might not commit to read.
Now, what he doesn't know is he now has just 5 piles because this is moving books around.
No,
somebody
piles.
Doesn't always know. No, well, I have moved your piles before, not knowing that they were, special piles.
I have moved them back again.
It's funny because
we're just going to talk about this. The whole fucking thing is.
Wait, the last time you were on Farpoint, I can't speak anymore. You were about.
I was about to move the David Johnston's typing needs to be improved.
Oh, shush.
I'm going to read this as it is written. Last time you were at Farpoint, asked you about a move, the man from Urch you were in, and since there they mad a sequel with you barely in it. Will they make that into a TV series?
With him not in it at all?
I'm sorry to mock your typing, David. My typing is no better. No, they will not make that into a TV series because only 6 people saw the sequel.
But the gentleman who made them, he just picked up rescued pastries from Coffee Commissary this morning for our organization.
He's a dear friend and a food rescuer. The original Man from Earth was made from the short story by Jerome Bixby. The second one was an original script. I think there was a big fall off in the quality of the writing. It would make an interesting TV series.
What does Amanda Branch say?
And I think there was a TV series called The Immortal, wasn't there? Does that ring a bell?
Yes.
You guys will know. Was there a TV series called The Immortal? You have the best camera quality on the panel. What camera are you using? Oh, fuck.
We just got a new computer is why our old computer completely died. And in that case, I think you couldn't even see us when we were Zooming. It was
good before too. The camera held up, just the hard drive kind of fried.
We never buy new things, so this is kind of huge.
We're also technophobes, so I could no more tell you what camera I'm using than I could tell you how to do any other scientific.
Did you guys ever watch? It was a TV show called The Champions?
The Champions. That's I think the one I'm thinking of.
I think that's the one.
Were they immortals?
They kind of did. They were in a plane crash, and then they came out. Kind of. Did I just spoiler alert?
Spoiler alert!
It was made a long time.
Probably ago. They probably in the plane crash in the first 5 minutes.
Yes.
I recognize the sweatshirt. Shock, we're falling behind. What was your favorite thing on set? Crafty. And what was the hardest? When they began to take all the good crafty away, like the Petty Four, which were eliminated about 3 weeks in when our ratings began to plummet.
My favorite thing on set was Zach and Yvonne. And what was the hardest thing was spitting out the lines I had to say because I got nervous and I would get really, really bad dry mouth and it wouldn't come out right. So the craft service person started hiding water bottles in my desk.
I didn't like the makeup was, of course, a pain in the ass. It took about 2.5 hours to put on and an hour to take off. So the days could be long. Like, the contact lenses. Hated the fucking contact lenses.
He did hate the fucking contact lenses.
Your eyeballs burned. Neelix, who I frequently am confused with, Ethan Phillips had to leave Voyager early only because the contact lenses had gotten to the point where they so irritated his eyeballs, he couldn't make it to the finish line. How sweet to watch your wife get killed. Yeah. But killed by Scott Bakula. Yeah. I can't spell. No, Barbara, I was making fun of somebody else. Christopher Ox. So what do you read? I read all sorts of things. I read a lot of fiction. I read a lot of history. I read a lot of sociology.
He's reading the Mueller report right now.
I'm reading the Mueller report right now just because I will not forget that bastard and what he did. Apologies if there's anybody.
Yeah, we didn't. He didn't just say that.
I did.
Well, he did just say that.
So, suddenly it's like 53 participants drops to 6. It's like, there go the 47 Republicans.
Oh,
they know me. Most of our books came from my other half. Lots of Andre Norton.
I read Oh, her and Mary Norton.
Lots
I mean,
of-
they're the same person, but I read a lot of her.
Lots of Terry Pratchett. Yes, I have some Terry Pratchett. I haven't gotten around to reading much of it.
The
Lots
Witch World, Web of the Witch World.
Lots
Which
of cookbooks.
oh,
We have a lot of cookbooks. We never cook from them, but we have them.
we spill food on them.
Yes, they're mostly there for decor. Can you talk about the sequel to Man from Earth called The Man from Earth Holocene? Will they make it into a TV series and you getting a bigger role? I've covered that, no and no, but that's sweet of you to want me to have a bigger role. I flexed my spelling. Maggie Restivo. I do that. This is about books again. And sometimes I look in my piles and then I panic because my calico, or is that what you call your wife? Betty follows me around and weaves around piles. I hope it's a cat. And sometimes she knocks things down. Oh, Betty. I like Betty as a name of a cat. We're thinking about getting 2 more cats. We had 2 cats, Solomon and Leo. Solomon lived to 23 and he passed away a few years back. And as soon as we can extricate ourselves a little bit more from the Hollywood Food Coalition, where we volunteer, we're thinking about getting another couple of kitties. What do you think about the possibility that Phlox might still be alive for Strange New Worlds or Strange New Words? I'm sorry why I'm making fun of everybody's typos, but you know, I'm in a position of power. I'm all for that. I think Phlox is like one of the longest lived creatures going. Seems to me that denobulans live forever. However, I have done everything but plead on my knees to Jonathan Frakes and the powers that be, and they seem dead set against putting me back on television again.
I think it's because it's hard to say denobulan.
Nobody can say denobulan, I know. There can only be one Highlander.
Okay.
I'm not sure I know the context for that.
Was there another Highlander too? Is this a separate sidebar conversation?
I know, I'm trying to think of all the things that we talked about that could be tied to a Highlander remark.
You know, but you could have a little...
Oh, yes, there was an Immortal TV series.
Oh.
Highlander. Yes, The Immortal was a series. I'm catching up. I love The Champions.
Oh yeah, we're about an hour behind.
Loved your appearance in a TV series next with John Slattery. They killed me off. Fuck them. Buddy, you know you cannot squelch me.
I know.
You guys are adorable. See, they like it when I say fuck.
Oh.
The 3 leads crashed in Tibet and they were fixed with superpowers.
Yes, it was Craig Sterling. You guys, I've not watched this since I was a child. Craig Sterling, Barrett.
Wait, I love you guys dropping the F-bomb. Fuck yeah. Christopher George was the star of The Immortals.
Oh, I was thinking of...
Wait, D. What's that mean? D. I'm not sure. We'll figure that out as we go along.
Laughing my ass off.
Laughing my ass off. We know you. This is about the fucks. Hemp 47. I think that might have something to do with Trump.
Is that our age?
Oh, no. Is he suggesting that Trump's going to win again? Robert Williams, I hope that's not the inference you're making. You're dreaming. We love you guys.
We love you too.
Wow. It was wonderful to meet you both in person at Farpoint some years back. I look forward to introducing you to my wife in person someday.
Aww.
I hope you have a wife.
Hi, wife, not in person. Jazz hands.
We don't talk about Highlander 2. We'll skip over that then. Can you explain to me how track fans can also be Republicans? You see, now
don't open that can of worms.
This is where Bonnie doesn't want me to go.
No.
She doesn't want me to go, so I'll skip over that. Yes, I can. Who is this? Joe Wilson? We'll talk privately. But no, I really can't. Maggie Restiva, we have 3 cats. A tortie, Nutmeg, who's 11, and 2 siblings that we took in. Lenier, that's an interesting name for a cat.
Cool.
A Blondie with special needs, deformed foot, and his sister Betty. So
another Betty.
Nutty. No, that's your third. That's the first Betty.
They are just turned 4 in January. Oh, I hope they live to be old. It was quite something to have Solomon for 23 years, longer than I've known my husband.
That's right.
I had him since he was 5. I had him since he was 5 weeks old.
The cat, not me. So I want to hear why Lenier is named Lenier and what the hell that is.
There can only be one.
The Highlander. I have nothing to say about Highlander. You can't put Johnny in a corner. Fuck right, Ariel. Or no, 47 was a number that the producers kept dropping from TNG and DS9. Oh, whoosh. I didn't think it could possibly be true. That's what you were referencing. I love seeing the photos behind you and that lamp. What's behind? Oh, what's the lamp?
Is the lamp broken?
Oh, the lamp. Yeah, no, it's just kind of old-fashioned, I guess.
It doesn't. It's leaning. It's like the leaning tower of lamp.
47 is a number that shows up often in Star Trek. I didn't know that. Will you come back to either Farpoint or the convention shore leave when the pandemic? Absolutely. Both are now at the same hotel. One of the great tragedies for us, of course, there are many great tragedies in the world that are infinitely greater, but for us is that we both really love to travel and we really love going to conventions. One, because we like low vaudeville and we like to run around with seltzer bottles and cream pies. Although Bonnie will not let me actually wash another audience member's hair.
That's John's. That was very specific because it was very specific. We got a
bridge too far for.
We got a gift basket and it had all these things in it. And John like whipped out the shampoo and was going to go shampoo some gal's hair. And it's like, you can say no. Just say no.
But she didn't say no.
That's it. I had to do an intervention.
She didn't say no.
It's like, John, wash your own hair, man.
I watched the champions for, so yes, we would love to come. I watched the champions for Stuart Damon, who played the character
Craig Sterling. It's at Sterling.
Okay. Do you remember meeting my husband, Alex Rosenzweig?
This is ringing a bell.
I know by face more than name, in all candor. So it's entirely possible I would recognize Alex right away. But names, I don't even know this woman's name. Babette Fargan girl or something.
Yeah, that is. It's Babette Fargan girl.
Babette Fargan.
He's doing well.
Babette Fargan girl.
Yeah, thanks.
Greg
Hi.
Sterling, damn typo. You can thank Joe Manoski for the 47s. Thank you, Joe Manoski. Moderate Republican and Star Trek fan, no convert. Moderates are fine. Although, can you be a Republican and be a moderate anymore? This is my question. Typos are just drunk typing. When you play an evil character, I've never played an evil character. Are you able to shake it off quickly, or does the darkness stay with you?
The darkness stays with him.
The darkness stays with me. Yes, I know. It's how
every
long,
second
how many
of
years
every
has it
day.
been?
Yeah. Do you remember what was the one you were the cold case?
Oh, cold case.
Wow. Yeah. Actually, you were so good on that. But yes, I was looking. Oh, I know. When we first were going out, like a month in, 2 months in, John was guesting on the Profile show called The Profiler. And he played this guy who had a crush on the gal in his office. And to make himself feel better, he would go dig up the bodies of dead women from a Jewish cemetery, I think it was, for some reason. And then he would take them to his home, his apartment, and wash them and dress them and put jewelry on them and pretend to have dinner with them. And all my friends watched that show, and I got the phone ringing off the hook going, "You're dating that guy?" He actually put the bracelet on the wrist of the guy, like the hand fell off, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, go on. So yes, he never shakes it off.
And actually, to be honest with you, I don't really, I'm not that method. I mean, I am to a certain extent, but I don't, it doesn't live in me. Lanier.
I'm so sorry.
Was a character from Babylon 5.
Oh, Babylon 5.
I want Bonita's hoodie. No, we would, nice try though. We would love to see you again at Farpoint Shore Leave. Looking forward to it. What's your favorite convention that you've ever been to, New Zealand?
I gotta say FedCon. The FedCon with the standing ovation.
Oh, that's true. Well, that was our favorite. That might have been our best show. Because we came on
in an opera house in Germany,
like
6,000 fans.
I was going to say 3,000. I like that you embellish your stories even more than I embellish my stories.
No, I don't. It was
in 10 years from now, it's going to be 35,000 fans.
Okay, it was 5,000 or 6,000.
It was 4,000 fans. Let's agree.
Okay, 4,000.
Anyway, opening night, and we were on at 11 o'clock at night after Nichelle Nichols and
Edward James Olmos.
Lovely people. Rather serious. So lots of serious conversation about social issues and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And at 11 o'clock at night, it's like everybody in their seats were like, oh my God. So I came on without my pants.
The rest is history.
And Bonnie rushed on stage to try and put my pants back on.
And he kept taking them off. So I had to turn them around and buckle them in the back. And then we decided to show German fans that how Americans pants people is like a ritual. So then we took
Mark Lee.
He walked by us.
We said, Mark, you're going to pretend you've just come to America and we're going to introduce you to an American custom. I will distract you and Bonnie will remove your trousers, which she did.
Yeah, it's great.
And we ran around. We got a standing ovation, motherfucker, at midnight
in Germany.
So that was our best show. I think New Zealand was our favorite, location.
I think Farpoint may have been our favorite show and location.
Oh no places, but New Zealand is the prettiest fucking place on earth.
I wish we could show your faces.
I wish you could show us your faces too.
Yeah, yes.
But say like air. Bonnie, me and my wife were the ones who approached you at the last Farpoint. We are friends with Katie Oppenheim, my wife and I, but that's all right. We'll let that go.
I remember Katie this. Katie Oppenheim. Did I go to? How do I know Katie? Tell me how I know Katie.
Tell us how we know Katie Oppenheim. Bonnie, you and I have a mutual friend, Katie Moss. Who are all these fucking Katies you're hanging out with, Bonnie?
I recognize the name.
Isn't Katie Moss a supermodel? I can be a moderate. Apparently, politicians cannot.
Bully for
We're going
you.
to skip right over that because Bonnie doesn't want to get me sucked in.
Why'd you say bully for you?
I'm an independent and miss moderates on both sides of the political aisle. Well, that's the problem with redistricting. I think, we need to have competitive races across the country. And then I think we could actually bend the country back to a conversation instead of having extremes. So how about that? I'll take a neutral stance. Sorry, Cap's issue.
Yeah.
How did you both get your start into acting? White slave trade?
Fell into it.
And
like a hole.
Yeah. I was asked, as we all were, to audition for a school play in the 6th grade. And I had moved up from the South and I still had a bit of a Southern accent and a lisp. So I thought fat chance, but I like to read. So I could read with a certain amount of enthusiasm off the page, and they cast me as Scrooge. Yes. And for a brief period of time while I was playing Scrooge, I went from an anonymous boy to a popular boy, and that sealed the deal.
When I was 10 years old, my brother and my sister went to a high school in south of Los Angeles. I grew up here, and they put on a production of Fiddler on the Roof. I was 10, my brother was 16, my sister was 13, I believe, but maybe he was, I don't know the ages. And he was 16. Anyway, they did Fiddler on the Roof. My brother played the Taylor model Camzoil, and they needed Taylor model Camzoil. And he can't sing, neither can I. But they needed 2 little kids, and so my brother brought me in to play Bielka. And I remember I went in to meet the gentleman who was directing it, and I had my little purse with me, and all I had was my little purse and a little hairbrush in there. And I was so embarrassed because he said, what have you got in your purse? And I had to pull out just a hairbrush. However, I got the part. And
it's not like you pulled out a rack of condoms or anything. I mean, that would have been embarrassing.
The embarrassing thing, though, was in the play, I couldn't stop laughing. I had a little giggle problem.
And not much has changed. There's a long passage from Maggie about her cats, which, just for the interest of time, I read. I'm going to skip over.
You read while I was talking.
He does that. It's all about her cats and more about her cats. There is a wonderful story, but in the interest of time, 6 years ago is when Alex, my husband, proposed. I'm sorry, I don't know why I keep making fun of it. It's hard to type on these things, and yet I do.
Well,
it's better than porpoise.
It's because autocorrect changes things too. Do you ever? I send something and it changes as it's fleeing, as it's leaving my fingers. The words change, and it's like, oh.
So when you were at Farpoint in 13, and congratulations, 6 years ago, Alex and Sarah, you're still together in this modern world. That's pretty good. 20, how many years for us now? 22?
Have we been together or have we been married?
How many years together? 22?
It's going on 23.
And how many years married?
20, going on 21.
And how many years happy? Whistling. When you were at Farpoint in 13, you shocked my 10-year-old nephew when you chased someone out of the ballroom.
Oh, I remember that.
Don't break the computer. Unfortunately, not something we can replicate virtually. No, and probably even physically, because I might not be any more at conventions in the future chasing quite.
Is that the one where he wore his purple marry you thing, and I wore the little yellow hat over my head?
Oh, I did. I had brought my surplus because I am actually illegally allowed to marry people because I got a thingy from the back of a gun magazine. Not that I had a gun magazine; it just happened to be a gun magazine. Anyway, I do remember chasing people down. He did it first for a while. I always chase people down. I chase people out. Remember.
Question for both of you: your favorite
one-off role?
Does that
one-off role?
Would that be? Can it be a movie?
Yeah.
Oh, I played Yvette in something called Shotgun Wedding.
Oh yeah.
It was on Netflix for a brief streaming on Netflix a few years ago, and I got to play. It was Shotgun Wedding because I was the mother of the groom, and I would stop at nothing to make sure that my son got married. And they did it with all these kind of fun GoPros and all the. It was a wedding video that captured what was going on, and quite a number of bodies piled up, and mostly because of me.
It's not a one-off, but I loved the TV series The Nine, and I liked the Out of Time. I thought that was fun.
They were great.
And I various brutish and horrible serial killers were kind of fun. Glad you're referring to the American Pants and not the British Pants. Yes, indeed. Can see faces on Gather? Maybe, but
On Gather, what's Gather?
You went to high school with Katie.
Yes. Okay. That is true. I know this.
You know Katie Oppenheim Moss, so she's the same person.
She went to PV High School, and actually, I
must
know
be
her
a criminal
through.
with all these names.
I know her through Gary and Steve because we go to their parties, and that's where I hooked up with her again.
She went to PV High School.
Yes.
I really enjoyed your appearance on Stargate 1 when you were praising Gene Roddenberry. Was that your idea, John? No. Although what I really did love about Stargate was that they really let you improvise, and Patrick McKenna, the wonderful Canadian actor who appeared opposite me, was an improviser. So we got to riff and play. That line was actually in the script. Much of what we did was not. Would you ever run for political office? I'm an atheist who says fuck all the time, so probably not.
No, it wouldn't work.
Do you worry that CGI techniques will absorb many acting roles? I'm not sure that either one of us really consider acting to be our primary career anymore. We're putting a lot of time and energy into running a not-for-profit called the Hollywood Food Coalition, which I think you may have heard about. And that really is kind of maybe more our gig than the acting. So I don't worry about it for ourselves.
I will say, actually, I see more like the CGI encompass using motion capture, because I did the Wolfenstein reboots, those 2 games. I played Caroline Becker. I was a general. You'd be surprised. Becker. But the thing is I think that's really kind of fun for an actor. That's another one-off role that I really enjoyed doing. Sorry, they're 2 games, but it's the closest to stage acting.
David Johnson, that was me. You chased me out of the ballroom. Did I catch you? Did I drag you back in by your hair or what? John, we are the same age. Well, okay. So neither one of us are probably going to be running around too much at the next convention. Maggie, oh my God, you two are my husband and me. Met in 1998, married since June of 2000. Oh! And we are funny and cute. June and 2nd. Humble and modest.
Yes, like we're so modest. June 2nd.
I was holding the gun magazine for a friend. I don't remember if it was a gun magazine, but I know somebody basically said it was a Star Trek fans who wanted me to marry them, and they.
Yeah, it was
and
Daria and what's his name?
What's his name? Yeah. Anyway, I said sure, but I'm not a minister. You'll have to get me a ministerial license. And he said, oh yeah, there's this. I got a dinghy from a gun magazine, and I'll apply for a. What is it called? A
Universal Church to bid it.
Yeah. And then I went on and performed the ceremony for my nephew, Bonnie's nephew.
That was a big hit. He was wonderful.
Something is short. Maybe you'll read it. Now, I don't remember what the context was of that. Is it still true that if an actor's suit or pants doesn't have pockets, you can use it as a tax deduction? I don't know that that's ever been true, but
wow, we got to go back and look at that. I got some deductions, maybe.
Is there a sexual pun in there that I'm missing?
No.
An actor's suit or pants doesn't have pockets. You could use it as a tax deduction.
Is that because it's what?
What? Huh? Cherry, you stumped the panel. What Wish the Nine would have continued, you and me both. Oh, we're friends with Gary and Steve. Have we met you, Ariel, at one of their parties? There's some questions on questions and answers button.
There are some questions on questions and answers and button. Answers and button.
Down at the bottom of your screen, there's a Q&A.
You talk about your career and what you liked, disliked. I loved your character in Star Trek and when you were in a movie Out of Time. I really enjoyed your appearance on SG-1 when you were praising Gene Roddenberry. Was that your idea? Just wanting to say thanks for joining in. John, tell us about, where'd that one? Boy Makes Girl. The first question in general, I'm not going to answer just because that's kind of coming out in the flow of the conversation. I did like making Boy Makes Girl. I have no idea whether or not it's still around. You know, you do one-offs and episodes and you don't necessarily pay that much attention. It was fun. I liked it. I think I played Watson to Sherlock Holmes. Moving forward down this list, did you all know the whole story arc for the 9, like what never got filmed? If you watched all 13 episodes, they were separated by some months. They burned off the last 6. You will find out that Chi McBride, the bank manager, was in on it the whole time, and that's why his daughter had amnesia. So he goes on the lam. What would have happened after that? I don't know. But that was probably the key reveal of the first season.
No, so we never found out how much farther John would have gone with his new girlfriend after he dumped his wife's ass.
But they did say they were going to bring Bonnie back, and they were going to do because for those of you who watched the 9, Bonnie played my wife.
His bitchy wife.
His bitchy wife, and we split up. And it turns out that they were going to be bringing Bonnie back, and she would have like blossomed in my absence, which would of course have been humbling for me.
I don't think they would have done that.
I do. Gather Town is where all the attendees and vendors are wandering around. We know Gary and Steve as well. Miss everyone back in California. We miss you too. I might say that California is the only state in the union right now that isn't under snow and under rain. So, but I say that lovingly.
Maybe.
You two need an improv show. You were both amazing.
No, we just natter a lot.
Agree with you fucking
no,
more.
Nattered.
We need a fucking show.
Right.
Where's our show? John, my dad would vote for you because you're an atheist that says fuck a lot. Well, that would make 2 votes, which probably wouldn't get me into
he might. Yeah, you
offices.
right.
I'm an atheist too, but I don't really cuss. Still, I get you. Plus, I would only be able to win in a progressive neighborhood or in a progressive city, and there's already a progressive in the chair. So, you know,
I'm not sure that belief in God, like, and how much you swear or not, are really.
You always got to say, you know, God bless you. I pledge allegiance to the flag on one nation under God. God this, God that. It's like,
and that's not what I was. Never mind.
Yeah. Anyway, I've got Sarah Jaworski's vote.
Yeah, you're up to 3,
and your sword and her axe.
See, I had an axe in that thing. I said shotgun wedding. I got to walk.
I am learning though. Look at all the people who are just looking for a candidate who's an atheist who says fuck a lot. This is the one thing that Trump had his finger on. He knew that people wanted things that didn't feel canned. He was honestly allowed. I could honestly be a guy who says fucking as an atheist.
And a kindly.
June 10, 2000 is when we married. We got married on June 1.
No, June 2.
June 2 or 3, somewhere in June.
It's in our wedding rings. I'm wearing mine right now.
We had to write it in our rings to remember.
In our wings. We had to write it in our wings.
I knew you were going to do that.
Well, I have to because you've been mocking people's typing.
I first met you two at United Fan Con in Springfield. Gave you a cast photo from the others.
Oh, I remember that.
Oh, I still have that picture.
He does.
That's where I got it.
You're right there. From Loretta.
Columbia, Maryland is progressive enough. This could work. We could move to Columbia, Maryland.
Okay.
We would too. We swear under atheists too. There are a lot of us.
I'm
getting to the end. We did it with. Can you tell us more about the not-for-profit you're working with? Okay. We'll tell you a bit more about that, and then you typists and question answers can catch up. We got to the end like that.
The end of what?
See, we're at the end of the thingy. Everybody's asked. I'm down to the bottom of the whoozy. So, can you tell us more about the not-for-profit you're working with? Yes, it's called the Hollywood Food Coalition. It's been around for 34 years. It started as an organization that provided a hot meal to people living on the streets, actually on the streets. Eventually, it moved indoors about 5 years ago. What Bonnie and I have done since we landed is try and push it to expand its mission so that the idea of serving the food insecure could have a greater impact on the wider community. So because of what Bonnie did by rescuing tons and tons of food in all sorts of interesting, innovative ways, we're now able to share what we rescue with between 50 and 60 other nonprofits spread out all over Los Angeles.
We're trying to find the small to medium-sized not-for-profits that offer services. Since we work mostly in food and feeding lots of people and have a lot of experience with that, we want to find organizations that get kids off the street, that work with seniors, that work with disabled people, that work with people that are trying to get sober, all different kinds, and do outreach to the homeless. But these small and medium-sized organizations don't necessarily have a lot of access to food, and they don't have access to food in the amounts that they require, types that they require. And we're trying to serve people with dignity and with thoughtful considerations. And so what we are now serving 200 to 250 people every night of the week, every day of the year, a hot meal, as well as sharing. We rescued 930,000 pounds of food, I think, last year. And we're trying to share about 800,000 of it with other organizations.
Yeah, it's got, there's also a community, it's 4 programs: community wellness, community dinner, community exchange, which is where all the food lands and is shared throughout the community, and community building, which is a recognition that volunteerism and knitting together a community of nonprofits is critical to rebuilding the social safety net on a local level. So a lot of what we're trying to do is create mechanisms that can be modeled and replicated and shared across the country that will allow communities to better serve people in need through collective enterprise. anyway, it's very cool. It takes up a lot of our time. Bonnie's done an amazing job.
Yeah, John has too.
How can we, I skipped a question and went right to how can we help support your cause? I will back up to this theater.
Yes, you got more space or something up there. And by the way, we also now have a thing which we're going to do tomorrow, where we essentially are receiving and distributing 7,000 amazing lunch bags that families have created. 700 families around the city have created. They're beautiful. They do artwork, they put notes in them, and then we hand them out to 30 to 35 organizations, and they distribute them to their.
It's a wonderful illustration, I think, of what community building is about. A group of fairly well-heeled people make these amazing multi-ingredient sack lunches, like 8 to 10 ingredients in a sack lunch. They're all collected by another team of community members and brought to our campus. Bonnie organizes a team of 15 volunteers, and 30 groups come to pick up all the sandwiches that have been collected and segregated by category, and those sandwiches are taken and distributed all over the city. In essence, thousands of people on every Sunday are collaborating and participating in a community-wide effort to touch a wide range of people in need.
It's been every single Sunday since March 29th of last year. And that's the consistency is a huge factor for helping people and getting people to be able to rely on food coming in. And March 29th last year, it was supposed to be 200 lunch bags just dropped off for our meals service, and it grew from there.
Yeah, and that, to me, to get to your question of how can you help, for us, for our organization, you can check us out at HO, and there it is, HOFOCO.org, and you can learn about us if you wanted to donate. Huzzah and bless you. But I also always really like in these conversations to say that so much of what I think animates us and should animate us is figuring out where we can give back in our own community. I'm kind of always big on talking about identifying what your volunteeristic bliss is and seeing if there's an organization close to you that you could get involved with that would help spur the explosion of your volunteeristic bliss.
I'm pretty sure a lot of you out there are already volunteering. I huzzah to you and applause.
But if you're not, that's one way to get involved in your community. And so I'm going.
Is your not-for-profit? It is not religious.
We are on the Salvation Army campus, but we are there in essence as a guest. We are allowed to use their kitchen and their dining hall in return for our taking care of some kids who've aged out of foster care who live on the premises. But we have a no barriers policy.
Anybody is welcome to have food, and but we do share. I share a lot of food with churches as well as LGBT
as well
groups,
as everybody. Socialists and anarchists.
Yes, Sammy the socialist, as we like to call him.
We basically say that,
if you're feeding people.
Everything that is, there's this hierarchy of need. You have to eat every day, and you need certain emergency services every day, medical care. You need a warm sleeping bag or a tent. We hand out a lot of stuff, shoes and hats and clothing and etc.
Hygiene kits.
Yeah, it's like if you're in need, no questions asked, man, and that's the way it should be. When you're in need, no questions asked. You're in need.
She would like you to read the pledges.
I pledge allegiance to the. Whoops, it went away. Let's see. Can you tell us about your theater work? And let me just make sure I covered all the stuff about the Food Coalition. I'll go back to that. Support your cause, not religious based. Thank you for your work with HSC. My husband and his boys faced food insecurity many years ago. We've never lost our gratitude for the food program that got them through that. I was on food stamps for a number of years back in my theater days, which gets back to your question. My theater days were the days when I knew where every goddamn quarter was in my house. Is there a website? hofoco.org. Wonderful of you both. Oh, thank you. We've been donating every few months to our local food banks. Nice. Canned food drives are another thing that one of the things that we did when we started was we got, whoops, I think we're getting booted. Sharon, fortunately, just wanted to say thanks for joining us, John. Tell us about Boy Makes Girl. Oh, wait, maybe we're not getting booted. One of the things that we did when we started is we called all of our friends and we said, hey, if you put 2 bags of groceries outside your door, can we come pick it up at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock? And we drove around all day and just loaded the car with groceries and took it to the neighborhood food bank. So if you're looking for some way to help support your local food bank, that's a way to do it. Just using your pals, make a social event out of it. You get to say hi to all your buddies, just, even if it's just a wave during the COVID era. Can you talk about your career and what you liked, disliked? I liked the paycheck. I liked crafty. I liked getting to know people. I loved the process of the work. Auditioning can be a pain in the ass. I don't like getting dressed up. I don't like wearing ties, and I don't like makeup.
That's not the same for me. I like wearing ties. I like wearing makeup. I don't know what I was trying to be funny.
I pledge. Oh, here's the Pledge of Allegiance again.
Oh, people moved over here
I
because
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic as it stands. As it stands? One nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I pledge allegiance to the flag. I have to remember the actual flag.
It's under God. Is she?
Yeah, I know the
so
under God part, but is it as it stands? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America.
One nation, indivisible, under God. I can't remember the as it stands part.
To the flag
to the republic as it stands sounds a little conditional.
No, that's right. Like, to the republic
as it stands. All right. Feed the world. Yes. Did you know the original Pledge of Allegiance did not mention God? Yes, it was put in the 50s because of the fucking McCarthyites. To the republic for which it stands.
Oh,
I was going to say. Thank you. I knew it. For which it stands. Is that right? For which it stands. For which it stands?
No. I can't remember. We just say it all the time.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States. Somebody look it up. I don't think that's right.
To the republic for which it stands. Yes.
For which it stands. For which it stands. That's a kind of a strange phrase. To the republic for which it's the flag stands for. Okay, yeah. John doesn't like wearing makeup, but you had to endure Dr. Flock's makeup. Poor guy. Yes.
Oh, yeah, poor baby.
But I did get paid. Also,
he got chocolates and hot.
Also, I only had to. I was like number 7 on the call sheet. You've probably all heard my song that I used to sing to irritate my other cast members because I would only come in a little bit, which would be day off as I was strolling off the set, having done my one scene for the entire episode. I particularly like to do this to annoy Dominic. I would sing day off, 6 days off and the check still come. Character actor in the sun, 6 days off and the check still come.
It's amazing no one just walked over to him and pushed him down.
Well, Dominic finally said, I don't ever want to hear you fucking sing that again. For which it stands. I remember it as a kid with bad hearing. I thought it referred to my little brother. I heard it as for Richard stands. Wow, that must have been pretty cool for you to think like the whole thing had been written about your family.
Do you remember that there was a thing in the like Dear Abby once where everybody wrote in how they learned lyrics to songs wrong, like when they were young.
Yeah.
Some of them were really funny.
Yeah, I know. I know that there are songs I've been singing for years to myself where it's like, I think my version is better.
Of course you do.
Of course I do. My wife has a long history of reacting badly to some makeup. It can be challenging. Yes, my wife has a long history of reacting badly to some of her husbands, such as me.
Challenging.
Over here, we have 2 questions. Can Bonita talk about some of her time on Chuck? Any humorous incidents?
No, it was very, very serious. Nothing funny ever happened. Remember
when I wanted to come up from under the desk as if...
I didn't think that was funny.
But they then had somebody do it. Remember they had that guy walk by in his underpants with a bottle of scotch?
He didn't have a bottle of scotch. That was you last night.
No, there was an episode. Wasn't
that was an episode. The guy walked behind me and he got like a turkey out of the fridge for unknown reasons.
That's what I liked, is that they basically, as the show went on, it became apparent that General Beckman was a sex machine.
A little bit.
More than a little bit.
A little bit.
You had a relationship with that guy, John Larroquette.
No, I mean, actually, it was a lot of fun, and most of the time, one ended up laughing really hard. And for me, I didn't get to interact with everybody a lot until I think after Tony Todd got blown up. I think then somebody figured out this is what's weird to me. We Zoom now. This was what General Beckman was supposed to be doing, but we didn't have the technology. I was thinking about that the other day. So I actually had to talk into a camera without being able to see anybody or hear what they were saying at first. I'd have to, Dave, whatever his name, would be in the background reading everybody's lines, but he was really bad at it. He was the first AD and he'd read their lines.
From Star Trek. Like Dave was terrible.
Yeah. And he'd be saying like, oh, General Beckman, well, I don't want to do that. And it's like, so they arranged something where I actually could record my stuff first and then they could project it on the screen so the other guys could, they figured out how we could interact, but we have Zoom now.
You and me endlessly grooving was you and me and Leslie grooving. I thought that was me and Leslie too. I'm with you on that. I also like this. 2 purple cups instead of 2 turtle doves. I kind of like that. 2 purple cups.
I know, right?
And it's like, oh,
well,
yeah.
there was that thing in Bull Durham where
I would rather get 2 purple cups, frankly.
do you remember Bull Durham when Kevin Costner gets mad at what's his head because he's singing Tim?
Yes.
He's singing my she gets woolly.
Oh, right. Had a great movie. How is the LA film TV community surviving the pandemic? It's the bubble is hard. We were on one show under the bubble where all the various different pods can't coexist. You got to stay away from the extras and stay away from camera, stay away from different departments. It takes a lot of the fun out of being on a set, in all candor. It certainly has driven the cost of production up. So they're trying to do, smaller cast shows, fewer episodes of a TV series. They're surviving. Most shows, not all shows, but most shows are in production. But it's
you're going to see a lot smaller cast shows. And I've been actually recovering, getting food from a show called Call Your Mother starring Kira Sedgwick. It's a half-hour show, and I look at the call sheets all the time, and it's there are 5 main characters, and then they'll have 1 guest character on a half-hour sitcom. That's kind of not a lot of people. So.
I would also say for us as actors, I mean, we really are not very aggressive anymore about looking for work. But like if you get a gig in Canada, you're in a hotel room for 2 weeks before you can start working. So anytime you're asked to travel now, it's like, hey, Gavalt, it's a major expedition, which makes it really difficult for an actor to think seriously about auditioning to be out of town. And LA production has been down over the years anyway, because a lot of it's fanned out across the country. So for actors, I don't envy people who are still really trying to work a lot. It ain't easy. And of course, crews and production houses and all the prop masters and the folks whose industry, whose livelihoods have been, and theater. People who are performing arts, I don't know when the fuck people are going to be able to go inside a theater again or a concert hall. It's just hard times. Misheard lyrics are called mondegreens, coined from a Scottish ballad that said lay him on the green, but was misheard as Lady Mondegreen or Lay Lady Mondegreen by a writer named Sylvia Wright. I did not know that.
I did not know that either.
Mondegreens.
Jeez, there's a word for that.
Mondegreens. Well, we emerged learning something.
Oh.
Little lambs a diley. I like that.
Oh.
Always wondered why Taylor Swift was singing about Starbucks lovers instead of star-crossed lovers. There's a whole panel here. Just
I know, and I know. Isn't it funny that one sits there going, "Oh, Starbucks lovers." But you don't ever ask anyone because you're not quite sure.
5-minute warning, and we've caught up to our questions. Now we're in pure vamping mode. Bonnie, what do you want to talk about?
Space, the Final Frontier.
Space, the Final Frontier?
No, I'm trying to think of anything funny that happened on Chuck, because yes, things did, but I'm old now and I can't remember. I was also rather serious, if you may remember, and I also did have kind of like weird words and things like that, as John did, that you have to say, because on your show they pulled them out of a hat, right, or a jar.
Some of the science crap, yeah. They had a jar on the table in the writer's room, and whenever they had to kind of come up with some like scientific mumbo jumbo, they would pull random scientific words out. Usually for us, it meant adrenal glands. Whatever the fuck was wrong with an alien, it had something to do with his alien adrenal glands. I always had to learn how to pronounce adrenal, because I always think, it's one of those words that if you don't pronounce it, like detritus. When I was growing up, I thought it was a detritus. Adrenal, for whatever reason, I thought was adrenal. And I had to get really used to adrenal glands.
Well, I'm working with a guy right now at the coalition who's his episcopal.
Instead of episcopal.
He's really, really, really computer smart and all this kind of stuff too. And so I sort of went into shock because I didn't know what to say. He said, he was at this Episcopal school donates food to us. And he goes, what's episcopal? What's an Episcopal school? And it's like,
it's a funny thing about reading, because, when you read a lot and you start trying to introduce vocabulary words, you've never necessarily heard them. So, I remember as like this little young kind of, 4-eyed quasi brainiac kid like doubtless probably making a big ass of myself because I was saying, well, there's a lot of detritus by the highway, over by the Episcopal Church.
Yeah, I chasm. I remember standing up in science class in the 7th grade and talking about the chasm. And you see like the know-it-all-y Four Eyes sitting over there going,
chasm.
She said chasm.
Chasm.
Yeah.
Of course, you learn as a boy, don't correct women when they make mistakes. Otherwise, you will never have sex.
I know, but then you marry a woman and then you correct them all the time. Built in.
Let's see. Bonnie will be joining John on the Star Trek cruise in 2022. And let's hope it fucking happens. John, your IMDb says you were born in Media, Pennsylvania, and yet there's no statue of me that I know of.
There's a statue of you on Catalina from the 21 miles.
There is? There's no statue of me.
No, there isn't.
I know. I live near there. How long did you... There's a statue of... What's her name? The Voyager captain, Janeway. There's a statue of her in Ohio.
In Media, Pennsylvania?
No, in Ohio, where she hails from. How long did you live in Media? Only a few months, actually. For the most part, growing up, we were just always one step ahead of the law. So we moved around quite a bit.
Media is near Swarthmore. I went there. My parents went to Swarthmore. My parents went to Swarthmore.
I think I applied to Swarthmore because it was girls' school, and I only applied to girls' schools.
How did my dad go to Swarthmore?
Exactly.
Yeah, they did call him Hans Friedericy.
Yeah, Hans Friedericy. Best word is cacophony, which doubtless is cacophony.
I say cacophony.
I made hubby laugh when I referred to the Civil War battle as antetum instead of antietam. He basically faced when I was working in a video store, someone asked for the movie Rykovche instead of Ricochet.
Oh, well.
Even after taking French, sometimes my brain still offers up macabre instead of macabre. Indeed. My mom, see, this is like song.
But you can say macabre.
My mom still tells the story of how I mispronounced taupe when I was 3 and I'm now 49. Well, my mother's dead, so that solved that problem.
But you were only 3. You were reading taupe? You were saying taupe? Are you an artist? That's amazing.
In Indiana. Okay, Janeway statue is in Indiana. Okay. Oh, she ran for senator in Ohio, didn't? No, her husband ran for senator.
Keep going.
Or was
no, her dog was from Ohio.
Yeah, some significant male in her life ran for some political office, and unfortunately he got creamed because he was a Democrat. 2 minutes. We've got to wrap it up in 2 minutes, Bonnie. What do you want? Do you want to sing a song?
That was what I was thinking. A song.
I'm so glad we had this.
Oh, that's kind of slow.
We got 2 minutes.
How about Jingle Bell?
No, that's
Jingle Bells, bells.
Nothing to do with it. We need a goodbye song.
So long, all the Christopher Plummer. So long,
I don't know the words.
Our readers say goodbye.
To you. I'd like to have some pie. And then the toddlers all agree to stay. They get into the car to flee the Nazis. Running away from the Nazis.
The sun. The show has gone to bed, and so must we.
And I, for one, I need to have a pee, a pee, a pee.
We love all of you.
We love you guys. Thank you.
Now we still have like 30 seconds.
I know we got 30 seconds fucking left. It's really hard to time that out. No champagne for you, Liesl.
Staying alive, staying alive.
No, I think now we're just in the thank you part. We're just thank you. We love you too. Thank you. You guys will eventually leave, and then we'll leave because we don't want to leave before you leave. That would be rude. So we'll just thank you.
And everyone just left.
Thank you, and there it goes. And now we're gone. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. All right. All right. And now it's just our friendly neighborhood moderator. Hey, friendly neighborhood moderator, are you coming on to say goodbye, or is this it? Oh, there you are.
Hey, I'm here.
Cool.
So people were talking about GatherTown. That's a website that actually looks like the hotel we usually host it out of, and you get to walk around and you can talk with people. You're welcome to join it. I'm gonna post the link to it if you want
I
to.
See. No, I can't because we have a shitload of work we have to do this afternoon. We're going away for the weekend, and we need to get ready to go. But
Understood.
thank you for having us, and we look forward to seeing you next time live and in person.
I hope that is soon.
No shit. I know. Just like this crazy fucking world we're living in. Next year, I'm not optimistic about this year, but next year we'll.
Yeah, I'm figuring October, November at the earliest.
Yeah, me too. Something like 13% have been, I think, inoculated so far. Yeah. Oh well, we'll get there. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okie doke.
Have a great weekend.
Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.